to the Enterprise Elementary Veteran Day program. The Troop 710 will present the flags and host the colors. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and National Anthem. Color Guard report. Color Guard Police Post of the United States. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. Two. Color Guard dismissed.
Yellow liner into that.
Just instead of that.
When you flip, does it
On November 11, 1918, an armistice was signed between the Allied forces and Germany that ended hostilities in World War I.
An armistice is a truce to stop fighting. The Allied forces who supported each other were Britain, France, Russia, Italy, and the United States.
In the next year, in November of 1919, President Wilson declared that November 11th would commemorate Armistice Day.
7 years later, on June 4, 1926, the United States Congress officially recognized the end of World War I and proclaimed that the flag be displayed on all government buildings.
Although the American people were asked to observe November 11th as Armistice Day, only 27 states at this time declared the day a legal holiday.
12 years later, on May 13, 1938, Armistice Day was made a legal holiday in the United States.
The holiday was intended to honor veterans of World War I.
16 years later, June 1st, 1954, the name Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day. We have continued to celebrate November 11th as Veterans Day for 63 years. The important purpose of Veterans Day is to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice all for the common good.
When the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, through the oceans, like the calm. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
May we all gain a greater appreciation for them as we learn about their experiences and sacrifices. Please stand when your song is sung. The lessons learned during the global conflict of World War II propelled the U.S. to push the envelope of what was possible both technologically and organizationally, including the separation of the Air Force into its own branch of the military on September 18, 1947. In the process, the U.S. became a leading superpower. Prior to 1947, responsibility for military aviation was divided between the Army for land-based operations and the Navy and Marine Corps for sea-based operations from aircraft carrier and amphibious aircraft.
Vicki Vernon Olson was born December 12, 1939, and served in the Air Force. Her rank is Airman First Class. She enlisted voluntarily and served her country during peacetime. When she was in high school, the different branches of the military came and told the students about jobs in the service. Vicki liked what the recruiter had to say about the Air Force and the careers that were available. She thought it would be a great experience to join up, so she did. In 1959, Vicki went to boot camp at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. When she got there, she was surprised at how strict they were there. She was given the responsibility to be the lead person when they marched, but sometimes she couldn't quickly remember which was her right foot. To solve the problem, her technical instructor gave her a rock to carry in her right hand so that she could remember which way to turn when the instructor said to turn right. While she was in San Antonio, Vicki trained to be a purchasing clerk. Her job was to type up orders for supplies. She says she really wanted to be a mechanic because she had lots of experience with that from when she helped her dad fix their cars when she was growing up. But she says that she was lucky to work at a supply base because they always had plenty of the things they needed. She knew that her job was important to keep supplies going to different Air Force bases. When they were halfway finished with basics training, they were allowed to go to a dance to celebrate. After she finished basic, they could go to the Airmen's Club or to the movies for entertainment. When she was far from home, she stayed in touch with her family through letters and telephone calls. She was able to meet new friends. She became close to some of them, but she says it's been such a long time ago that she doesn't know what's become of them. Vicki says that the food was good. Sometimes she was even ordered to help out in the chow hall. One funny memory Vicki has is at the time she fell asleep in a training class. Her instructor called out her name and woke her up and asked her if she needed more sleep. A not so fun memory Vicki has is of the time she had her duffel bag stolen. Unfortunately, it had her photographs in it, so she lost them too. Later, Vicki served in Trent, New Jersey. There she was a discharge clerk and typed up the discharge orders for returning airmen. She says it was a great experience seeing all the men and women who wanted to serve our country. She got to talk to returning airmen that served overseas and hear about their experiences. When the time finally came to type up her own discharge papers, she was sad to leave all the friends she had made, but she knew that what she had done in the time she served was important. And she was proud that she had enlisted and that she received an honorable discharge. After her service, Vicki spent some time helping her husband's family after his father had a heart attack. After he passed away, she searched for work in St. Paul, Minnesota, where they lived at the time. She continued to do a lot of typing in her later careers, which included working as an inspection clerk and working for the State Printing and State Tax Commission. Vicki says that looking back, her experiences in the military made her realize how many people and supplies and how much work it takes to keep our country safe. Not only is she glad she was able to serve because it gave her a goal to strive for, but she feels it taught her to be an independent person and to do a good job at whatever task she is given. She is proud to have done her share to serve our country. We want to thank you. and honor you and all our other veterans for your service.
The Second Continental Congress founded the Army in 1775. It is the oldest service in the United States military. Originally formed to protect the freedom of the first 13 colonies, the Army had evolved and grown from this small militia force into the world's premier fighting force. The Army exists to serve the American people, to defend the nation, to protect vital national interests, and to fulfill national military responsibilities.
Our Army Spotlight is Farrell Phelps. He was born July 15, 1933. His rank was PFC-3. The places he served where basic training was in Fort Ord, California, Security School, Alameda Naval Base, Alameda, California, May 4th, 1954 through October 1st, 1954. He was drafted into the Army. A boot camp experience. He said a lot of hard work and training for 16 weeks. Did well in Rice target shooting and others. Then I was assigned to go to a security school for 2 months at the Alameda Naval Base in Alameda, California. Then by ship to Korea, taking 12 days, being seasick part of the time. He served in the Korean War. He went to Korea up north of Seoul, the capital, in the Churwon Valley, just below the 38-degree parallel, which divides North and South Korea. It was a dreary, partly foggy morning when we arrived in Incheon, Korea. We unloaded from the ship and went to shores on barges. It was quite a change from the United States, then in the Churwon Valley where I spent my time. He was a squad leader most of the time until the last 7 months. Then he was assigned as the mail clerk because he says, I was the only one in the company that was cleared for security due to my security schooling. A memorable experience was when they went to Japan twice for a week at a time on R&R leave. I was able to see the culture and plays and some historical sites. He said they had plenty of supplies, and they needed sleeping bags, backpacks, clothes, a rifle, personal items, and personal items had to be purchased at the store. How do you stay in touch with your family? He wrote letters. He said, I was able to call home once while I was in Japan on a week leave. What was the food like? Not the best, but adequate for the circumstances. On Thanksgiving and Christmas, we had great meals. For entertainment, they didn't do too much. He said, twice I was able to attend USA shows. Bob Hope always had tours for the servicemen. He had shows with movie stars and others, Debbie Reynolds, etc. I was chosen to play on a company softball team that played against other companies. A humorous experience is one day we were on BIV, out in the hills, digging foxholes. I was checking on my men. As I walked up to two of them, they were playing with their bayonets, tossing them close to each other's feet. Then they would have to keep spreading their feet further apart till one fell down. As one tossed his bayonet, it hit a rock or a bush and bounced and stabbed me in the foot. I had to go to the first aid station and get stitches. It wasn't so humorous at the time. He did somewhat keep a journal. He has some photographs, and he has a display up here that has some of his pictures. So, what do you recall about the day your service ended? I was discharged at Fort Lewis, Washington. It was a great day when the ship sailed into Washington Harbor after 11 days' journey and some more seasickness. But it was good to see the USA again. He went back to work on the Union Pacific Railroad. Then, the most important thing, he got married after waiting for 2 years. He made some close friends. One is John V. Davis from Cedar City, Lawrence Govia from Los Angeles, California, and Clifton Belliston from Magna, Utah. And he continued his relationship with John Davis ever since. After he worked for the Union Pacific Railroad for 44 years. He retired in July of 1995. Says this, did your experience influence your thinking about war or military? Certainly don't like wars, but we need to keep a strong military to keep our country safe. How did your service and experiences affect your life? It made me more grateful for this great country which we live in, seeing the living conditions and poor people without food or shelter. Is there anything else? He says that it upsets me to see people in our country who disrespect the flag the way some people do. I love the flag and our country. We'd like to thank Colonel Phelps for his service.
Since the outbreak of open hostilities with British, little consideration had been given to protection by sea unit until Congress received news that a British naval fleet was on its way. On October 13, 1775, the Continental Navy was established. During the American Revolution, the Continental Navy was successfully preyed on British merchant shipping and won several victories over British warships. After being disbanded for several years, the United States Navy was formally established in April 1798.
R. Olson was born on January. He served in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, Korea, China, and Japan. His rank was Aviation Electronics Man, First Class. Jerry enlisted in the Navy so that he could see the world and help protect our country. He attended boot camp at Great Lakes Naval Station in Illinois. At first, he wanted to train as an aviation radio man, but later volunteered as an air crewman. Jerry served in the Korean War. When he first arrived, he was excited to learn all that he could. His assignment while there was a radio man and radar operator. where he stayed at the battle station with a .50 caliber machine gun. There were plenty of supplies while in Korea, but if anything was needed, it was ammunition, food, and uniforms. The food in Korea was very good, and movies were watched for entertainment. Jerry was able to communicate with his family through the mail. Although he did not keep a journal, he has plenty of pictures and slides from his time there. His most memorable experience was getting to see foreign countries and surviving a plane crash into the Sea of Japan. Unfortunately, 3 members of Jerry's crew died from this plane crash. Because of Jerry's service in Korea, he was awarded with an Air Medal, Korean Presidential Unit Citation, Korean Service Medal, and a National Defense Service Medal. After Jerry's last day of service, he was finally able to return home to see his family, which he hadn't seen in 3 years. Jerry went to work as a warehouse manager. Although his time in the service was then over, the experiences along the way impacted and influenced his life. Jerry was able to visit places in the world he never thought was possible. However, losing close friends and crew members along the way is something that you never forget. Jerry, we want to thank you for your time and service in the Navy.
The United States Marine Corps was created on November 10, 1775 to serve as landing forces and shipboard security for the recently organized Navy fleet. From this early role as soldiers at sea, the Corps later evolved into the independent Land, Air, and Sea Force, known for serving as the tip of the spear during American combat operations abroad. Marines have been in the forefront of every American war since its founding. affections from our community, all of you.
You were a servant clerk and a discharge clerk. You were a squad leader and a mail clerk.
You were a radio man and a radar operator.
You learned to defy gravity.
You became a worm in the mud. You fixed the heart of iron monsters.
You lived in the belly of a beast.
For dignity, for honor, for righteousness' sake, for God and country you fought. We look up to you and want to say,
Today our wish is for peace around the world and freedom for all.
Lasting peace and resounding freedom begins in the hearts and minds of all of us.
America. I promise you I'll teach my children of your freedom and your grace, and of the founding fathers' wisdom in the writings that they made. Dear America, I won't let them forget the sacrifice that your men and women made, and that our flag still flies from the dying breath they gave. Dear America, no, I won't back down from our enemies, and I'll gain my strength by praying on my knees, and I'll trust in the one who has always kept us free. This I promise you, till all my days are through. Dear America, dear America, dear America, I promise you I'll teach my children of your freedom and your grace, and of the founding fathers' wisdom in the writings that they made. Dear America, I won't let them forget the sacrifice that your men and women made, and that our flag still flies from the dying breath they gave. Dear America, no, I won't back down from our enemies, and I'll gain my strength by praying on my knees, and I'll trust in the one who has always kept us free. This I promise you, till all my days are through. Dear America, dear America, dear America, I give my word that I will not forget that dark September day when we learned that others hate us and it took our breath away. Dear America, no, I won't forget the families who hold a photograph and 1,000 vivid memories and a neatly folded flag. Dear America, no, I won't back down from our enemies, and I'll gain my strength from praying on my knees, and I'll trust in the one who has always kept us free. This I promise you, till all my days are through. Dear America, I pledge my sacred honor, I pledge my fortune too, and if they come back next time, they'll have to go through me to get to you. This I promise you.
I've got a boy who is 16 years old. He'll be turning 17 in January. And he goes, Dad, I'm joining the military. And I thought, okay, crap, what did I do wrong? That's the first thing that came into my mind. I have a kid that just wants to go out and shoot people. And I asked him that. I said, Benny, why do you want to do this? Do you want to go out and shoot somebody? What is wrong with you? And he looked at me and he goes, Dad, I want to serve my country. That's all that boy had to say. And guess what his dad? I support you 100% after that. Because he's doing it for the right reason. And later on, we've talked some more, and we've talked to Officer Cobb back there, and there's a couple things that he can do. And I said, well, he doesn't go to school to be an officer. And he goes, I don't know, because I don't want to be one of those guys who sits behind the desk when my guys are getting shot at. I can't do that, Dad. I got to be there with them. And it's because of the example of men like we have standing right here that Benny thinks the way he thinks. So I want to say thank you as a dad and as a principal for all that you've done for us in this community. So let's give him one more hand. Thank you guys. Right after this, we'll have our veterans line up in the hallway. 6th grade, after you have gone through and everybody is out of here, please come back down to help clean up. Our veterans, after you've stood up here and shaken hands, please join us for an honorary lunch for you over in our multi-purpose room. And that includes if you